back, everyone. We just finished reading this delightful book about Miss Fox's class going green. And so her class was learning about helping the earth stay beautiful and clean and saving energy. And so there's the 3 R's of reduce, reuse, and recycle. And so today we are going to be doing kind of like the reuse, recycle part, because we are going to use part of a carton to make a wind chime. These beautiful little bells are part of an old egg carton that I have colored or painted, and I've used some old yarn that I had left over, and I have some jingle bells and some pony beads. And so this is a wind chime. You can put it outside on nice windy sunny days, but because it is made from recycled cardboard, the egg carton is biodegradable, which means it breaks down when it's wet. So we can't leave this out in the rain. But it can come in the house and hang up on like your doorknob, and then you can have your own little wind chime inside too. And so in our bag, the very last things we have for this month, we have the 3 part of an egg carton, and we have our baggie that has the yarn and the jingle bells and the pony beads, and our brown bag and all the other brown bags that we've used. I want you to save them in some place special because we are going to reuse these later to make puppets. So let's start with the egg carton. Yours comes in 3 like this. And if you look at it very carefully, you see that I have already punched a hole in it for you. So all you need to do, and this is easier for a grown-up to do because it is kind of hard to cut these. They need to separate this, make it from one long piece into 3 pieces. And all they do is cut down right along in between where the eggs would be sitting. Because it's sturdy enough to hold the eggs so they don't break while they're in the grocery store and in your refrigerator. It's too hard to use the little guy scissors, so you're gonna have a big guy cut them for you. Now you have 3. And there are different things that you can use to decorate them. And what I have done is 1 I colored, 1 I painted, and 1 I used markers. So depending on what you have at home, you can either paint them all, which is very fast to cover them, but then you need to let them sit to dry, or you could color them with crayons, or you could color them with a marker. And you know what Miss Mary did? She left her crayons and marker over there, so I have to go get them. Sorry about that. Now I have already painted 1, so it's nice and dry already. And so we're going to be using this when I show you how to string these together. So I'm going to put that right there. But I'm going to show you how easy and fast it is if you paint it. Because you have a lot of space to cover, you don't really want to use a small paintbrush like this. You want to use one that has a bigger brush. Even bigger than this would be okay too. And what you do is just put your fingers in the bottom, hold it, and then you just want to paint the whole little bell. And this is a nice bright color called magenta or fuchsia. This is just acrylic paint that a lot of you might already have at home. If you were looking for paint to buy, you can get acrylic paint at, like Walmart's or craft stores. You can even buy it at like Dollar Trees. Now, as you see, I am almost done painting this. So that's why paint is nice, because it's fast to cover it. The only problem with the paint is that you do need to put it on something. I have a little tray over here behind the book, and I'm going to put it on, and it's going to dry. And it takes a little while for it to dry, about a half an hour. If you don't have paint and you don't want to go out and buy paint just for this, you can use markers. And so I have a purple marker, and all you would do the same thing is just hold it and color. And as you see, the marker, because the Carton is a little bumpy, it doesn't quite cover it as well as your paint does. And if you're using markers, make sure you're using the washable markers. You don't want to have purple hands for a long time. And also with the markers, the one thing or another thing that kind of takes away from it a little bit is that, markers run out of steam real quickly. It means they kind of run out of the color when you're using them like this. They need to like rest a little bit to get moist again. I'm going to use my other purple marker to finish it. You can make your bells all one color, or you could make two the same color and the third one a different color, or you could make all three a different color, and that's what I'm going to do. So I have a purple one, a gold one, and I have an orange crayon, which is what I'm going to color my last one. And so it's just like the marker and the paint. You want to cover the whole thing. And when you're doing this, you want to make sure you keep your fingers inside to kind of give it a little thing to, support. Because if you were just coloring like this, the points could bend in really easy. Because remember, this is just sturdy paper, but it's not, it's not a plastic, so there is some give to it, and you don't want your bell to break. So make sure that you have your hand behind it like this, so it gives it something to press against. And that also makes it easier for you to color it. Now, what I did with my first wind chime that I made, I separated my beads and my jingle bells through the whole wind chime. You can do it any way you would like. If you would like to have all 3 of your bells on the bottom, then put all 3 of your bells on the bottom. If you want to have, I did it, there's 8 beads, and so I did them in 2s, but you could string them any way you want. This is your wind chime. There's no right or wrong way of doing this. So I have my 3 bells done. So now I'm going to take out my yarn, and on the yarn you will see that, whoa, they do roll. Moms, dads, grown-ups, whoever's working with your little friend. So this doesn't happen at home, and you have beads going all over the place and bells going all over the place. You might want to get like a little plate or a bowl, and so you can pour them in that, and it sits right in the thing, and then they don't roll all over the place. What you have is a piece of yarn that has Scotch tape at the one end. And what I've done that for is that it makes it easier when you're trying to string things. If you did it from the other end, you would find that it would be almost impossible to get this, even for a grown-up, to get this through this little space on the jingle bell, or even to get it through this little hole in the bead without having it unravel and become a big mess. And so I have put the Scotch tape around here so it makes it nice and hard and easy to string. And so what I'm going to do, and this is what I want everyone to do, you're either going to have a bell at the very bottom. Let me hold this up so you can see what I'm talking about. You're either going to have a bell or a bead at the very bottom, and that saves everything from sliding right off the end. And so I'm going to go ahead and let's start with the orange bead. And so I'm just going to string this bead by putting the Scotch tape part through, and then I'm going to slide it almost all the way to the end, but without coming all the way off. I am then going to just tie a knot here. And I think the big guys have to help with this. Just do a little knot. Cut off the excess yarn. And then you have the beginning of your wind chime. To keep the things separated, if I just now started putting things on, they would all end up right at the bottom. So how did I get it so it stays like this? Well, inside here, I have put other little knots and little beads that stop things from going all the way down. And so this is really a project that the grown-up and their little buddy have to work on together. And so I have a bead, so now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put a bell really close to it also. And if you find that this is acting up a little bit, you might just want to like twist it a little bit and make it a little closer. If the Scotch tape does come off, because it's taking a really long time to do this, then all you have to do is take another piece of tape and re-tape it. So as you can see, I am having problems with this bell. It helps if you have fingernails on this one, I think. So you can grab it and pull it through. And I'm going to put my bead, let's see. I'm going to put my bead here. So once you decide where your bead is, all you want to do then is just tie one more knot on. Then I have the beginning. So now I'm going to string one of these and I'm going to go in from the bottom. If in the traveling, what I've done is, even though I have poked a hole in it already, sometimes it closes up a little bit when you're doing the painting or the crayons. All you want to do is take like the paintbrush or a pencil or the tip of a pen and just poke that little hole so it's open again. See, like this? And that you don't want a really big hole, but you don't want it to be really small. You want to be able to get this yarn through it without it becoming a frustrating thing to do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this, I'm going to let it go all the way down so the bell stops it. And I'm hoping that that will make it ring a little bit louder. And so, okay, I got that done. I'm going to put a red and a green bead on. And I'm going to, let's see, I think I'm going to put them about here. So then, once again, so they stop, so they're not riding up and down, I am going to tie a knot there. And that will keep them in that one place. And so that's how you do the rest of your thing. Now I think I'll put the yellow one on. And like I said, just to make sure it's easier for your friend to see that hole, make sure that it's wide enough that it is not a difficult process for your little friend to stick the yarn through here. And let's see, I think I'm going to go, I've decided that I don't want this all the way down on the beads, but I don't want to take my bell off again. And so I'm going to think, well, how do I do that now? You come from the bottom, put this through here, and you're going to make a knot above, let them come down a little bit, and then I'm going to make a knot right there, and then that will hold my bell from going down on them. So you can see the beads. Because like this one, where I let the bell stop the jingle bell stop my other part of my bell, the A cordon. You can't see him, but these beads you can now see. So then all you want to do is finish up. You can put all your beads up and down anywhere you want. You can put your jingle bells together. You can put these guys together. What you want to do is you want to make sure that you have enough room at the top left over that, and I'm just going to show you how to end it, that you want to make a, you want to take the very end of your yarn and double knot it so it doesn't come undone. And then you have your little hoop that you can hang your wind chimes up on. And so that's how you make a little wind chime for your house. And you say, well, Miss Mary, is there another thing I can do to recycle or reuse? And so I'm just going to show you another thing. I made these little swans out of a paper towel roll. I cut the paper towel roll and I just cut them out, little shapes, glued it together, and I made swans. So there's lots of beautiful things that you can make by reusing things that you have already used and would just go into the trash. And now you can reuse them, recycle them into something beautiful and give it another way to help save our Mother Earth.